Hey everybody, this is Murray from Success with Dr. Murray, showing you how to capitalize on part-time hours to get full-time results in your business. But what we're here to talk about today is my brush with cancer and my story in preparation for the Movember campaign where we raise awareness for men's health issues. And part two is going to be a doozy. I haven't really told this stuff in front of a camera before, and so this is going to take a little bit of, a little bit of for me to tell it. But hey, if it's going to save somebody, if it's going to cause some good, I'm going to be able to suck it up. All right. So in part one, we learned that I had testicular cancer and that I was newly married and that I wanted to raise a family and that I had to have the testicle removed. So there is a complete regimen that I had to go through, starting with before removal, then post-removal. Okay, so now we're going to talk to pre-removal steps. Just in case anything happened here, it was recommended, and I think it was covered by health insurance. I'm pretty sure it was. Otherwise, I wouldn't have been able to afford it because it's pretty friggin' expensive. But I had to go to a sperm bank, a cryogenic center. Is that the right word? Cryo something? Cry me a river? Anyway, I don't need the friggin' plug in my ear. And I had to make a donation, and they were going to have to freeze everything. Oh, first they had to test it to see that it was motility factors and whatever that means. And, it was like giving grade A, 100% organic, non-GMO donation here. So I believe it was all in one operation, I believe, because I can't imagine I went to this twice. This is over 20 years. No, I think I just went there once. So I had to go make a donation. They would test it and store it at the same time, assuming I tested okay, assuming and I didn't study or anything. So I'll never forget, it was somewhere down, toward Boston, I think it was inside Route 128, which is a highway that goes around Boston. So you get Boston, which is densely busy and populated and very difficult to drive around. Then you got Route 128, which goes around Boston. Everything in there is very dense and busy, and all the industries and stuff like that. And then there's another layer, 495, but between 128 and 495 is kind of residential, but some businesses. And then as you get further away, it gets cheaper, but it's further away, and you have to drive in to get anything done. Anyway, somewhere inside 128, there was a cryogenic center, which I can't even remember the name. And I had an appointment to go check in, and there was a couple nurses there at the counter. Nurses, or technicians, I should say. I say nurses, they're really technicians. And, one of them was pretty cute and, very attractive, but two of them weren't. They were older, pretty old, and I had to fill out a clipboard, and then I guess I ended up getting stuck with one of the older ones. And I filled out the questionnaire, standard medical stuff, and then she says, okay. She gave me, geez, I can't remember. I think it was a cup and some instructions. And smiled and said, is there anything else I can do for you? And I kind of went, what do you mean by that? Jeez. Anyway, so they had me go into this room that was a non-medically looking room. It looked like somebody's, I don't know, but it had a couch and a couple of cushy chairs and some magazines and some soft music. Was it a girl from Ipanema? I don't know, I can't remember. But soft music. It was warm. I remember it was warm in there. It was warm. Not hot, but warm. Comfortable, warm. And there were some magazines in there. And I said, what are these for? And I specifically said, what are these for? Just to see what she would say. And she smiled at me and she says, well, that's in case you need any help. So these magazines weren't something you could find off the shelf in 7-Eleven or I mean these were pretty hardcore stuff. I wouldn't say it was the latest, but they had a pretty good variety too. Anyway, so the next most embarrassing thing that happened that day was walking out and handing over the cup. I think there was some kind of discretion that they had that there was nobody else standing around. But there was the young nurse was standing behind, smiling at me, and I'm like, oh, geez, this is friggin' weird. So the old lady looked at me and smiled and says, "Everything come out okay?" It's a line I use all the time. I can't believe I'm getting hit with my own line. So that was just humiliating to a degree, but it gets worse. Wait till you hear part three. But it was just awkward. I don't know if anybody else has done this. I guess you can. I mean, you read about it in movies where guys do this to get paid for it, for women who need to get donations. But this was strictly for medical reasons. So the good news is that they did some tests and everything looked good, so that they froze it in case things didn't work out after surgery. I could rely on this bank, and we could still have kids. So I don't know if anybody else here has done that. I think that I'm telling you this because by now it's probably more smooth process. But I wonder if they still have that room there. Oh my God. All right, that's the end of this section. If you think that was humbling, you need to watch part three, which is the creme de la creme of humblingness. It's very friggin' humbling. Anyway, stay tuned.